Let's dive in, Sally. A lot going on. I know a couple weeks ago. It's been a while since you and I've caught up. The
Yeah.
governor delivered his budget address. Just off the top, what'd you make of the governor's budget address?
Yeah, and actually there were a couple of things in there that our side of the aisle was kind of, I should say, happy to hear in a sense, and that was the cut back on illegal immigrant health care. That was a plus. But other than that, that budget is still facing a 1.2 billion shortfall. And from Gombe's report, which is the Government Forecasting Accountability Commission, that report just came out after his budget address, and it's still in the hole, way more than what they had projected it to be when he did the budget. And since the governor came in, he has increased his budget 37% since taking office, and that's a lot. So Illinoisans need to pay attention to that and see what's in a budget.
So, with this budget, you mentioned cutting back on the funding for illegal immigrants and their health care and those sorts of things. One thing that and to be quite frank with you, Sally, I had Chapin Rose on a few weeks ago, so I'm kind of going off a lot of his feedback to see if you agree or not. But one of the things he talked about was like, yes, that's a proposal. However, he's a little skeptical that will happen just because of the thought process of many Democrats in Springfield. What say you about those prospects?
I totally agree. And Chapin's our number one budget negotiator. Yeah, and I totally agree. This might be what he wanted to put out, what he wanted to see, but as we know, that's up to the legislature to vote on that. So if they tweak his budget and put in things that they want, that could be a real problem.
You mentioned the budget shortfall. It was projected to be rather significant in the $2 billion range, and now not so much in the not as big of a budget deficit for this time around. What do you make of the money appearing from wherever it appeared from there, Sally?
Yeah, that was quite interesting. The day before the budget, then they released a new dollar amount. So I think the number that we know now is from COGFA, that commission I was just talking about. So now we know that the budget's facing a 1.2 billion shortfall, and how we need to take a serious approach because unrealistic revenue projections are not the way that you balance a budget.
That they are not. That they are not. So and one thing I was thinking about this morning, I'm curious. You have to sit there and listen to that speech. They're in person. Fortunately, I didn't have to listen to it this year. I was doing some FFA interviews. But I'm curious. Like, as you sit there and listen to what the governor has to say, I'm curious where your mind goes, knowing that like largely the GOP will be cut out from the budgeting process, and a lot of this stuff will take place behind closed doors, and then I don't know if it'll be last minute, but that's been the trend. You'll get this budget last minute, and you'll have to vote on it in short order. I'm just curious, what's your thought process as you listen to what the governor has to say on that particular day, knowing that that's how the process often plays itself out.
Well, that was an interesting day because we got referred to as Nazis, and I didn't care for that one bit, as you know, and as all of the Americans know. That's just not something that you take for granted, that word. So I sat next to Representative Hodder, so that's when the senators come and join the House members next to them, and the things we were hearing were not things that were any type of agreement as to let's work together with our fellow Republicans and make things work for the good of our constituents. We didn't hear any of that. And as we approach budget time, you're right, we have appropriations hearings, which we have started already. And those different agencies come with their appropriations and say, this is what we need to run our budget or to run our facilities. And then that amount is into the budget, and we can question them, but it's not up to the Republican senators to say, well, no, we need you to reduce it by this much, because that doesn't happen. Now, could the Democrat senators do that later on with their pencil? Yes. But there's no joint remedy to have that discussion. It just doesn't happen.
So, again, State Senator Sally Turner on the phone with us here for this morning on the morning show. Well, Senator Turner, what in the budget is problematic to you? What do you like? What do you not like? Maybe some more specifics on those things.
Well, here's one really good thing in the budget, and that is the governor provided, there's 2 programs, one from DCEO, and then I forgot where the other one's from. It's another category that provides for the cleanup and get ready for some of these areas that were just sitting there that were state-owned, such as the Logan Developmental Center and Pontiac Prison. And there are a total of 5 on that list. So we are hopeful it's $500 million that's going to go toward that. Now, we're hopeful that that amount stays in the budget. The governor has noted that Logan County has suffered a great deal the past few years, starting from Lincoln Developmental Center and then going down to our 2 colleges we lost. And, who knows, the turmoil that's at Logan Correctional Center, no one tells us anything. We don't have any idea where that is. The governor's office is not telling us anything, nor is the Department of Corrections. So that being said, Illinois is looking toward helping us get additional revenue and additional EAV. And those places that are sitting there that are state-owned aren't getting any tax dollars back to our taxing districts. So if we rebuild those, get those ready for shovel-ready projects, then that can help not only our individuals that are looking for jobs, but also that can increase the assessed valuation so that we can have a lower tax rate, and that would be great. So we're hoping that that's going to stay in the budget.
Anything else from your perspective there, Sally, good or bad?
Well, I think I mentioned earlier about the good, which was also that reduction in illegal immigrants for their health care. It's time that we take a look at our residents and how they're suffering, which I know there's many, and they call us every day saying, they need help with certain things. And when there's no money for our citizens, then that is a problem.
Sally, anything else on the budget address? The process, how it plays out over the next few months? Anything we didn't touch on you want to put out there for us?
Yeah, just that hurried factor of last minute we get it, and which is crazy. I know coming from a county perspective, which I was county clerk in Logan County for 6 terms, we had to put our budget on file 30 days ahead before we voted on it. Now, I think that needs to be in its form. We should receive that budget in its form 30 days ahead of time so that we'd actually can review it all and talk about it and make sure that these are the things we need. Amendments, sure, they can happen, but those need to be placed on file for public viewing as well. So I guess that's just the way the state works. When you're in the majority power, you can pretty much do what you want to do.
State Senator Sally Turner on the phone with us here for this morning. Sally, I know recently, Sally, I'll tell you what, I look at the clock. Let's break because I don't want to jump into something and have to take a break in the middle of it. So let's take a break and we'll come back and talk some more if that's okay.
Yep, sounds good.
Like I mentioned, State Senator Sally Turner on the phone with us this morning. More to come with Sally on the morning show.
WHOW. Your Clinton Save-A-Lot helps control inflation every day. Here's store owner Dave Jackson.
One thing that keeps me motivated, besides the fact I love the business, is I'll have customers stop me, holler down the aisle, or walk up to me and say, hey, I want to thank you for what you've done and what the store has done to control inflation and to keep it where we can afford to buy groceries. I mean, I hear this on a very regular basis. It just drives home the fact that what we're doing is having an impact. People are noticing it. It really does mean a lot.
And as Dave always says,
hope to see you soon. Netflix buffering, YouTube spinning, devices not connecting, Zoom calls dropping. Ugh, it's frustrating when you struggle to stay connected. You shouldn't have to worry about your internet in Clinton. It should just work. Well, let's end your frustration. Get internet at the speed of light from Connexus. With incredible residential speeds up to 5 gig, Connexus offers reliable, unlimited internet in Clinton at unbeatable prices with no contracts and no installation fees. Fall in love with your internet again with Connexus. Visit conxus.com. Fiber not available everywhere. Terms and conditions apply.
Breathing problems can affect every aspect of your life. Breathe easier with Gibson Area Hospital Pulmonology Clinic and Dr. Ismail Bobat, now providing pulmonology health services to DeWitt County at Warner Hospital in Clinton. Dr. Bobat is an expert at identifying and treating pulmonology health conditions. Get the right diagnosis and treatment for your breathing problem with an experienced pulmonologist. For healthier breathing, book an appointment in Clinton today. Call 217-784-2212.
ServPro of Piatt DeWitt Counties for fire and water restoration, reconstruction, and now duct cleaning to keep your air healthy. Find out how they can help you by clicking their icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Netflix buffering, YouTube spinning, devices not connecting, Zoom calls dropping. Ugh, it's frustrating. Let's end your frustration by signing up for fiber internet in Clinton. Click the Connexus icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. My guest on the phone today, State Senator Sally Turner. Sally, I know you joined Lincoln Mayor Tracy Welch in Lincoln recently to announce a fentanyl piece of legislation. So tell me about this. What's going on here?
Now, I was with Mayor Welch on the LDC talk when we were.
I'm sorry. I got my events mixed up. I apologize for that.
Oh, that's okay. I just want to clarify in case Tracy was listening. That she's like, where was I? So anyway, I was with Senator Sue Rezin. She's up from the Ottawa area, and the McLean County Coroner, Dr. Kathy Yoder. Mm-hmm. And we have legislation that we put out. I have 2 bills that I put out every year since I've been there. I've been there 4 years. And one is to increase the penalties for selling and dispensing fentanyl and making it a Class X felony. Why is that not easy to do? Don't know. They won't bring that up. And then I have another one, Senate Bill 1569, that increases mandatory prison sentences for fentanyl-related crimes that they are manufacturing or delivering fentanyl when they lace other products with fentanyl. And we see that happening all the time. We mentioned that one little pinhead dot of fentanyl could kill a 250-pound man. Mm-hmm. And one sugar packet, if you look at that sugar packet, can kill over 500 people. Now, why in the world would we not make that a Class X felony to have any of those? It just continues to floor me that doesn't come up. So we've got enough attention that some of our partners on the other side will take a look at that. And then Senator Rezin had, it kind of goes and coincides with the Safety Act. If you were trafficking more than 15 grams of fentanyl, that they cannot be granted pretrial release. That's an excellent bill. That's Senate Bill 113. And then the other one is on your death certificate, instead of it saying that it's a fentanyl overdose, it wasn't meant to be an overdose, it was a poisoning. So I think that's a really good bill as well. Dr. Yoder talked. She is really, really good about knowing all the aspects of fentanyl. Unfortunately, she's the coroner and has to deal with that. But she's telling us now that there's so many different types. Fentanyl is always the same, but these drug dealers are putting different things in fentanyl that make Narcan not work, mm-hmm. which is frightening. That Narcan can't help some of the people that we see that have been poisoned by fentanyl.
Yeah, and I'm curious, Sally, what's your attraction to this legislation? I know fentanyl has been something you've really honed in on in your time as a legislator. What's got you so passionate about this?
Well, if you look at it nationwide, let's just take for example, a plane crashed. Okay, would we not be upset about that and worried about that and try and do things that are would help the aviation industry to fix those things? Yes, we would. How about if a plane crashed once a month, which is about the total of people that died in the United States last year from fentanyl? So it's just the mentality that we are not pushing this legislation to help curb the illegal transportation, the illegal the possession and delivery of fentanyl. It's just, I don't even understand why we don't push this.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Well, Sally, anything else on that before we move along?
No, we can move on to what else we have, or what else have we been doing, I guess.
Yeah, well, I guess since I got my events for you mixed up, tell me about what you and Mayor Welch were doing over in Lincoln a few weeks ago. You mentioned the LDC development and some things going on there. What's the latest? What do you know?
Yeah, so Seth, that was after the governor's speech. I believe it was 2 days after he did the budget. His office had come down to speak with myself and Mayor Welch and Representative Hodder to tell us that program and that amount of money had been placed in the budget. And one of the things was to help Lincoln Developmental Center to become a shovel-ready place. Whatever happens to that, we are not in control of. I imagine that's going to be up to the city later on for zoning and prospects, and probably up to the governor's office, because I think they will try and navigate and help industry come and take a look at it. And I don't think everybody knows that all those past records that were there went to Jacksonville, and now Jacksonville is closed. So all those public records that were in the LDC are now with the Department of Public Health. So if anybody's ever looking for those. So most of those buildings there have plenty of dangerous poisons in them. We know that some of them are being used right now, like I believe State Police is using one for just storage. But other than that, it's pretty much a disaster. And the good thing is, it's beautiful property. It's 100 acres.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and boy, I'll tell you what, that has been a sore spot in Lincoln for many years. You know, going back to the days of it closing and all of those things. It's really that's really been just a spot you drive by, and for lifelong Lincolnites, I mean, it's got to make them sick to just see that property deteriorate the way it did.
Yeah, and also juvenile justice put in on a portion of that, what used to be 100 acres, it still has 100 acres left to develop.
Uh-huh.
But Juvenile Justice had built their facility, and it looks very nice.
Oh, it's immaculate. It really is. They've done a great job with that.
Yeah, and that doesn't open. There was money in the budget to help that get open. I noticed in July, I believe that's supposed to start.
Ooh, hey, can I ask you something, Sally? The mayor, I was talking to him about this, and I brought up, and boy, I hate to sound so cynical, I really do, but I tell you what, this has the earmarks of we're gonna throw you a bone on this one, but we're gonna come out and pull the rug out under you later with the prison announcements. Do you get that vibe at all with this?
I'm always leery of what is given to us and nothing is taken from us. So I'm always leery of that. But I guess what I want my constituents to know, and especially those people that are involved in Logan Correctional Center, I continue to fight to keep Logan Correctional Center here in Logan County, because it makes absolutely no sense to build a facility up in that area in the, I believe it's Elgin area, I think it is, but up in that area where it costs more to build a facility than it does down here. And we already have the area, and we already have the people, and I don't understand why they would do anything differently. Mm-hmm. Build it here. You got to build a new one anyway.
Right. Very good. Sally, hate to do this to you. I got to let you go for the morning. Just very quickly, you going to be around the district at all? I know you've probably got a lot of time up in, coming up in Springfield, but are you making any trips anywhere around your district here coming up? Very quickly, I apologize.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I'll be in session for the next many weeks, but my staff is going to be in Clinton on March 18th, tomorrow, Cerro Gordo on March 25th, and then Atlanta on March 27th. So if they check out our website, they can see when we're going to be there, and happy to help anybody with their state issues.
Very good. Hey, Sally, always good to talk to you. Thank you, my friend.
You too, Seth. See you later today.
Sally Turner, state senator, my guest on these on the phone today. Network News on the way.